Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are joining us from. We have got an international audience from far too many countries to mention, but I know we have got dozens of people joining from multiple countries around the world. I hope you are having a fantastic time so far, and I know that over the coming days, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic, fascinating event. And I know you're going to enjoy it extremely. And I know you're going to be taking away incredible value for being here. And that will be your reward for those people who are being patient, who are being committed to be here for the full 3-day event. Absolutely fantastic. My name is Shukeel Chohan. I'm from Birmingham in the UK, and I'm your host. Well, I'm not your host. I'm going to be interviewing Tahira today, the founder of the Golden Door Awards. So, ladies and gentlemen, lords, ladies, and whoever else might be here with us, welcome to the inaugural event of the Golden Door Awards. This is the very first event of its kind. I don't think there's anything else out there like this. At least certainly I've not seen anything like that. And I'm pretty out there, you know, I see everything that goes on around the world, and I've not seen anything like this. And that's one of the reasons why I was really, really keen to get involved and jump on and basically make my contribution as well. Because one of the big things is about the people of contribution. This event is about recognizing people of contribution. You know, those people who are writers of truth and integrity. Those are the people who are stepping up. And then there are people who want to write about truth and integrity, and they haven't yet taken that step. They haven't managed to, because perhaps they're just looking for guidance. And perhaps they're looking for examples of other people who are leading the way already. And sometimes to become a leader, you need to see what other leaders are doing. So it's never too late to start your mission. And today we'll find out that Tahira started her mission not as a young teenager, but in more recent times. Yeah. You know, so that just proves that your mission will start when you are ready to show up for it. So my name is Shukeel Chohan. I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer, I'm heavily involved in the personal development world. And one of the things that I do is I teach people the art of communication. So I'm all about how people show up. I'm all about allowing people to express themselves. I'm all about enabling people to share their story, share their message, share their value. And that's what I do. And that's something I'm deeply passionate about. I had my first involvement in the personal development world back in 1985. I know I don't look anywhere near that kind of age, but I was a 17-year-old in 1985, and I met Jim Rohn, who was one of the legends of the personal development world, and he was mentor to Tony Robbins. And I think most people here have come across the giant 6'8" American motivational, inspirational speaker, the #1 life coach in the world. You know, he's an impact maker, he's a change maker, and he definitely had a huge impact on me. And so hence I then went into the world of personal development. I went into the world of personal empowerment. And what I see with what is happening here today and this great event, this is all about empowerment. This is about empowerment on a personal level, and this is about empowerment on a community level. But the community is a global community, and that is incredibly powerful. And because of that, I thought, you know what, I need to get involved, I need to be in. And so when I came across this awards night a few months back on social media, I connected with Tahira, and we started a conversation and a discussion. And that then led to me being here today. So thank you very much, Tahira, for creating this opportunity where we can get to interview you as well, because what happened was when we were having our conversations, one of the questions I asked you was, so who's going to be interviewing you? When do people find out about who you are? And you just went silent and thought, in fact, I haven't thought about that. And I said, well, how can you possibly gather hundreds and hundreds of people together from all over the world and then not let them know in any detail who you are? And I think I said that, look, you've been so busy serving others and creating an event and being in the service of other people that you forgot to include yourself. So I volunteered to say, look, we need to correct this and let everybody know who you are. Because look, you know, people are coming because most of the people know you, they follow you, and they do want to know more about you, and not just sort of read about you. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity. And it also sort of, what this will also do is it will put context to everything as well. It'll put context to why people are here, what inspired you, how this event came together, and what the vision going forward is.
Yes.
So if you're happy, I'm going to be asking you a few questions, Tahira.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fantastic. So Tahira, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back as early as we can possibly go to your earliest memories, yeah?
Yeah.
And then we won't dwell there too long. And then what we'll do is maybe bring everybody forward to the current era,
Okay.
and how all this happened. But I think it's important that people know something about your background, and sort of what your previous, because you've got a whole host of sort of accolades. And I was looking through your bio, and you've got all sorts of awards and recognitions, which, to be honest, you say very little about. But I think it's important that people understand that, because one thing that I've always done is I've always been a person who celebrates the good things. And as humans, we've become very, very conservative all of a sudden when it's about celebrating ourselves. And we shy away and we say, oh, no, it's okay, it's not okay. And I think it's okay to celebrate. You know, so if you've done something great and you've done something worth recognizing, I think it's great to be proud of that as well. You know, so we don't have to be shy today.
No, don't worry. So how far back? Right from the early days?
Well, let's just briefly touch about sort of what's your background, where have you come from,
Okay.
how did you end up you're in Singapore right now, yeah? So what was the background, and what was your family background?
Well, my family, well, right from the beginning, my grandfather came from Afghanistan, from Kabul. He was an immigrant. He was a trader. He was also vice president of the INA. He was an INA, in Indian National Army. He was he was directly reporting to Netaji. Yes, so my grandfather was a sort of freedom fighter. My father, Tahir Amir Khan, my father named me after him. We have similar names. And my father was supposed to be a doctor, but he decided to take on the business, and he set up the pioneering car pit shop in Singapore, which reached about 96 years, almost a century. 96 years since my grandfather set it up. My grandfather was the first Afghan immigrant of Singapore. He was the first Afghan immigrant.
A real pioneer.
A real pioneer. And then my father took it on, and my father is quite connected in the community because he was, well, right from beginning. He was a very well-read person. My father and my mother. My mother is a master's in literature, one of the very few masters in literature in Pakistan. She came from Pakistan. Wow. So, and my father is an entrepreneur who read lots and lots of books. And so I was sort of homeschooled by my mom. I went to school, but also homeschooled. And the number of books that we read is unbelievable. So, of course, very grateful because my father wanted to make sure that women, his daughters, had the best education, because in Afghanistan it's the opposite. They're not given an education. They just sold off, and it's still happening right now as child brides. So he wanted us to have the highest level of education, and he would say to me, "You only get married when you're 30, not before, because you have to make sure that you know who you are, and you have done your highest in your education." And
But your father really went against the grain of what was traditional and accepted
yes,
back in his day. Incredible.
yes, that time, yes, and he wanted, yes, he wanted me to take over the business and all that. Well, my sister's running it, you know. When um, I had different ideas. I was always interested in business. He taught us business since you were teenagers. I mean, you used to go to the carpet shop at age of 6 years old, and I was selling carpets as a 16, 17-year-old, you know, all dressed up, showing the Persian carpets, the Afghan carpets, and um, so.
I mean, you know, I was going to say, just before you go on, when people think about Persian and Afghan carpets, these are not everyday carpets.
No, no,
These are items that
special.
cost phenomenal amounts of money.
Oh, these are
Some
pieces,
of these items are tens of thousands of dollars.
yes, investment pieces. So there's a
They
lot of
are, yeah.
history behind it. You have to really understand. So
These are handmade.
if you go to his shop, it's all books and books and books. You have to be a historian. So we were surrounded by knowledge. This is what we learned so much. We were academic. And he also made us learn Japanese. He made us, yeah, because, well,
Really?
yes,
How did that come about?
because a lot of customers from Japan. So
Oh, right.
and
Okay.
you had to deal with, yes, so the customers from Japan, because they appreciate fine pieces. So yeah, I came from that kind of background, which was very, very much surrounded by beauty and art and knowledge. That's what I grew up in, and business. Every day I was going to the shop. A weekend I would spend time in the shop, and it was beyond the shop.
That business, that must be quite an education,
It
being
was
involved in the business.
huge education, because we also learned how to interact with people all levels. I mean, I remember Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-O came to visit us. Yeah, and
Really?
I was a little child, but I was introduced to him. And then, yeah, some of the famous actors, um, Imelda Marcos also was there. You know, she dropped by, bought some carpets. Sultan of Brunei, and Maldives, etc. The palace in Maldives. Yeah, so yes, it was a different life. It was, yeah. So we had learned how to interact with people of that level. But what was interesting about all of us, my brother, my sisters, is that even though we used to interact at that level, and we used to go to the, Saturdays with Shangri-La, it was somewhat luxury, but we were not into it. We wanted to change the world. My brother and my sisters were all the same. We were all pioneers somehow, because we saw our father, we saw our mother.
So business alone wasn't enough.
Yeah, we were not interested in the money. We were not interested in the luxury. We were interested in making a change. So, and we had no attachment to things, actually. Somehow it was
So
really
can I just ask, where did that come from? That sort of push to want to be change makers. Was this going
grandfather,
back to your grandfather?
grandfather, my father, it's in the blood. Yeah, my grandfather risked his life. He would, he was, like I said, in the INA. He shifted out of Afghanistan. He traveled and settled here in Singapore. He wanted to change things. So it was, I think, in us. We saw it. And Dad would always teach us to look beyond and to test our limits. To test our limits, we don't have limits. And my mom was extremely passionate, highly intellectual, literary person. So literary, and my father was training to be a doctor, entrepreneur. So a mix of both.
Your mother was in a very unusual position, considering her era, when there wouldn't have been. I mean, now I know Pakistan, for example, has very many eminent women in leadership positions,
Yeah.
women in government and in business, in
Mm-hmm.
science, women Air Force pilots. I think
Yes.
Pakistan had some
Yes.
of the. I think, from what I understand, the very first fighter jet pilots in the world were Pakistani fighter jets.
Yes.
They were women. And so now they've come leaps and bounds. But if we go back to your mother's era, she would have been totally in opposition to what was the accepted norm at the time.
Yeah, she was surrounded by that, but she was not like that. She was a debater. She would come on TV, I think newspaper, for being a debating champion. She had medals
Oh,
after
wow.
medals, lots of medals. And my father didn't like publicity. He was different, but he was the very dutiful man and business, person who was successful.
So he just more interested in keeping a low profile then,
He
where your
liked,
mother was out. Your
he liked,
mother was out getting publicity and
yeah,
in the media.
yeah. My mother was a sort of like that, more publicity even from young. Um, even if you even you know early, I think late last year, my father said to me, because I became an author, I became a speaker, and my father said to me. By the way, my father passed away just in January this year, and he was dying, in the process of dying, and he was opening up to me. And he was saying to me, Tahira, I admire you. I said, why do you admire me? He said, I admire you. I was stunned that he said that to me. He said, you can talk in front of an audience. You can write a book. I only feel comfortable with one or two people, So that really touched my heart. And he was the one who said to me, you are going to focus on writing because that's leaving a legacy. Um, and I had to sacrifice a lot, and my mother helped me a lot with that also. And when you're writing a book, especially the kind of book which I write, I would tend to write. I don't write based on what a publisher tells me to write. This is what's trendy, this is what's going to sell. That's not me. I wasn't writing a book because I wanted to have a book out. I was writing a book because I had a message which had to come out. And I wasn't even sure what the message was until I started writing. The writing itself was going through a journey. I wasn't sure what the title was. So the title evolved while in the middle of writing the book. Then the title formed itself. So I was walking a path while writing. And I had no expectation of what would happen after that, whether it's going to be a sellable book. That was not my interest. I just wanted to bring out this message, which was pouring out of me into this book, whatever book it was going to become, whatever genre.
I think a book that is in progress, and there's a lot of self-discovery going on at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that starts throwing a unique perspective on things as well, in the way that you write and the information that downloads into paper.
That's usually the best kind of book, because it has a substance and a feeling, and it has that eye-opening feeling when the person reads. So so my journey from that time, I was first, of course, I was selling carpets with Dad, my brother also, and me and my brother and my sister. Then my interest was always scientific. Dad was saying to me, you got to do your bachelor's in economics. I was very upset about that, actually. Seriously, I was very upset. So,
well, you had an interest in science right from the beginning.
Mathematics, actually. I quietly enrolled myself into a degree in mathematics. And I didn't really tell him actually because I didn't want him to get upset. But I quietly enrolled. I did mathematical sciences. I did my specialization in that, in computer science, double major. So that was later on when I finished my degree. Then I said, Dad, I did mathematics. And he said, what? He was actually a bit shocked. Then he was quite happy
Do
because
you keep it hidden from him? Because
yes, I did. I had to, and because not really hidden. No, not really. Actually, no. I didn't really talk about it. He didn't.
you just didn't talk about it.
I didn't talk
Okay.
about it. I didn't ask. I mean, he didn't ask. So, but when I
He
started
just assumed that you're at university doing economics.
studying it quite nicely,
So you decided to go into business with your brother, okay, which is fantastic. A lot of successful businesses are family businesses. So what was the area that you were involved in? Because you say you've gone into the tech sector with UX.
user
For the people
experience,
who don't understand, UX stands for user experience.
consulting. This means optimizing the experience that you offer, the technology to make it easy to use for the public. I mean, like look at the Mac, it's designed to be easy to use. So we were focusing especially on government sites to make it easy for the public to file the taxes and do all sorts of stuff online. So we did a consultancy, we do research with the users, and we translate it into design. We did that. And then we moved to mobile phones. So
So
where
you would then redesign the interface, the layout, the
we
user
did,
interface.
but we did more on the research. So we were very research based, and we would come up with the recommendations. And we would also, of course, but lesser on the design. So we were like the consultants and advisors. And then we went very much into mobile. And with mobile, we went with Nokia, Samsung, the design of the phone, and for all across the 22 cities actually around Asia, Middle East, and from
So
there.
this small business, this little enterprise, sounds like it grew very rapidly.
Oh, yeah, it did, and we like. I mean, we're not so big or anything like that, but we were doing a lot of international projects. And some of the projects were big, some were small. But we did do some very important projects, and that's how I got close with the Singapore government. And then I was also involved with FutureGov. They would ask for guidance, advice on the next 20 years, what are the technologies to implement. I also became the president of Mobile Alliance, which is a society to help make Singapore a mobile innovation hub for Asia.
Right. Okay. So you were getting recognized at a very early age for your technological insights and your technological expertise. So you must have, I mean, this I find quite remarkable because you've only just graduated, you've done 3 years of your own, you've worked for 3 years for major corporations, and straight after, you've set this business up with your brother, and you're already now securing government contracts, and
Yeah, very
you've got governments approaching you
yes.
to advise them on technology
Mm.
for the next 20 years.
Yes. We
And
quite
when
fast.
I think of that, I'm thinking maybe they'll talk to somebody like Bill Gates. Okay, because, but you so that's what would come to my mind. Okay,
Oh,
who would approach for advising governments and huge corporations? But you're doing something. So this means that you've acquired an expertise and a skill at a very high level that governments and organizations have recognized. So where did it go from there then? And how many years ago was that, by the way?
that was 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. I completed my term as president of Mobile Alliance, it was 6 years ago, 5.5, 6 years ago. And
Yeah.
then I decided to take the next step to bring what I know in technology and to fuse it, to take the next step in not just focusing on the physical technology, but the human technology, and to look at the entire planet. So I somehow, like I said, it's sort of accidental, but not so accidental. It was within me, but I wasn't really aware of it. It was within me, it was coming out. It was coming out and ready to manifest. So,
okay, our audience is wondering, what is it that you are referring to? This thing that is within you. So there's going to be some, it looks like, I've got a feeling there's going to be some intrigue going on here now.
okay.
Because this sounds a little unusual.
Yeah, so what happened is I was doing all those government contracts, mobile projects, and I was in vice president mobile and all that. And
were you enjoying all that, by the way? Was that?
It was very, very intense. I would go to Dubai and then do a project, come back 2 days, and then go back again. My God, it was very intense, but a little bit too intense because there were so many projects to do. Mobile phones was this huge burst, and new versions all the time. So there was so much research to do, but I wasn't truly enjoying it because I wasn't following what was within me. I was a deeply curious person. I was a project manager. I was very, consistent in managing those projects. But I was so curious and I was so concerned about where humanity was heading that in my past time, I would research on planetary civilizations and was reading astrophysics. That's what I did most of my time when I was free. And that was what interested me.
The history of humanity. So the history of humanity, is that what we're talking about?
Actually, the future of humanity.
Future, I like that.
History. I started sketching because I was so, like I said, I was frustrated. It can be kind of mundane when you're running government projects. Satisfying also because they're happy, but then again, it's not more than
but
that.
It wasn't setting your world on fire.
It was not set. Yeah, it wasn't. But I wanted to change. I knew there was something more. I wasn't exactly sure what. So I started spending time sketching. I love art. And then I found that I was sketching something really interesting. It turned out to be a prophetic painting. I started it, and then it took about about 6 months, 6 to 8 months to finish it. And I realized when I painted it, there was actually information about what was going to happen that was coming out of that painting. And it was the past, present, future.
Where are you getting this information from that's enabling you to do all this?
I spent a lot of time.
Because this is the puzzling thing now, isn't it? We need to build a connection.
I spent a lot of time in prayer, and I was within me. I was quite deeply religious. Don't forget, at 18, I stopped a year and said, "No, I'm not going to go to university. I'm going to learn religion." So I would spend a lot of time, sometime, not a lot of time, some time in prayer. And I had this deep desire in my heart to know more. I want to know the truth about the universe, about God, about why we were here. I didn't want to follow just instructions of what others were telling me. There had to be something.
Find out for yourself.
I want to find out myself. And I want to understand, why was I here? And what was I supposed to do? And I had this vision of a topsy-turvy world. I had this vision that actually this world is not right, that everything was upside down. So then I realized that, how do I bring it right side up? Because everything's upside down. So I started getting these visions, and I sketched them and I wrote it out, and it became quite intense, more and more and more. Uh,
Well, I'm just, you know what, earlier on you said your father told you to write.
that was later on when I started writing. Um, and I shared some of the visions with him, and he would listen quite very intently. And some of them were
Hmm.
bizarre, okay, really bizarre. Anybody would say,
What did he make of all this? What did your father make of all this?
he loved it. He loved it, yes. I had the encounter in heaven. This was when I had a soul death experience, and I had encounter in heaven, and that changed me. I felt like I had gone there. Everything was beyond three-dimensional, 4-dimensional.
Did you say you had a? Did you say you had what was that? You said a soul death or a near death
Soul
experience?
death. It was, I had, could say a soul death, yes. Um, I had had,
How did that come about?
it came about with a lot of grief over months. I was really in intense grief and I couldn't understand why. I mean, it was very, very intense. And then suddenly I just broke down. And my mother was there, my husband was there, and I just collapsed to the ground. It was as if I was reborn. The person who was there before was no longer there. And
This is very unusual. Okay, I mean, I've heard of near-death experiences, and people often talk about that, and that's like they see something that is totally spiritual, or they talk about going through a journey or seeing things that are not of this world, etc.
yes,
But you didn't have an injury or an accident, and you weren't on a hospital
no,
stretcher. Or
no.
okay,
I was a broken soul. And
right,
my uncle used to say this to my father. I don't know whether Tahira can survive in this world. He used to say that before when I was a teenager.
really,
Yeah, because he thought I was too fragile. Uh, I was too weak for this world. He would say that to my father, and he was a bit worried.
really. That's
Yeah,
incredible, isn't it?
and also I was never the sort of person who would speak. I Even when I was president of Mobile, and
Well, you were a quiet character.
I would not want to speak at all. I would speak, but I would never in front of audience. I would send
Right.
my vice president to speak, but I would never be there to speak. Never give a presentation until it was a small group, yes, but never in front of more than 50 people. No way, ever. And people would say, I remember people would say to my mother, "Does Tahira talk?" You know, so I didn't really speak that much. Um, I would hate public speaking. I hated it. It was nerve-wracking.
Even though you had a mother who was a prolific speaker.
Yeah, nothing to do with that. No, no, I didn't. I didn't want to. I said fame and public speaking was off for me. I didn't want. I want to be left alone.
So you didn't like that attention. You didn't think, you
No, I
thought
didn't like it.
speaking will bring attention.
I don't like being. I didn't like it at all. Yeah, didn't like it at all. So yes, yeah, I was changing somehow. I don't know what it was, but I was being remolded to something within me. It was that was greater. And I had this another experience when I was sitting down and I was praying, and there was this resounding voice. It was the sound of an angel. I have a number of angelic encounters. The angel voice said that there are many messengers. God is sending many messages to many people right now. Uh, I was wondering about that. That really shook me. And
I mean, you'd have been, what? I mean, to be getting messages or having visions like this, was that a scary experience? I mean,
no, it was
no?
natural for me. It was very natural for me. Um, so
That's an
then,
unusual thing to say. Why do you say that? It was natural.
yeah, because
Because that's not natural for most people.
I was very comfortable with it. And it was something which was me. That's all I can say. So somehow the book became a spiritual and scientific journey and revelation towards what we had to become and what the planet had to become. So there were chapters on being free and responsible.
So your information, was there a mission that came out of all of this messages? And this is what has transpired, the book, the event,
there was
all the output that you now put out on social media?
The event came later on, yes, of course. It wasn't planned, but there was so much in the book that revealed what the golden door was. I had words, the many doors, but there's only one golden door. And the golden door is the highest version of ourselves. And I also talked about the new human. So that new technology, which is us. And that is based on truth and integrity, a deeper truth. I'm not talking about honesty here. It's a verbal honesty. No, I'm talking about a deeper truth.
So the golden doors is not a physical set of doors.
It's a destination. It's also a journey. It's a representation of who we were meant to become, and it is based on the next level of us. It was a golden door.
When you say next level, are you talking about, is this a spiritual awakening? Is that what you're referring to?
Spiritual awakening, planetary awakening, and which I was guided was extremely important right now. More important than the tech projects I was doing.
So this is not so much of your own doing, you feel that you were guided, yeah?
Guided, yes, it was guided. And it was always month after month, encounters, downloads, you could say. And yes, all sorts of information was coming through. So
how did you feel about all this? I mean, this is not a normal, unusual experience for the vast majority of people. Would never be having this conversation because they just don't have this experience. And I'm still puzzled and intrigued at how you felt that this was very natural. And this is not a natural experience for most people.
To me, this was natural, and what I was doing before was unnatural. Yes, felt like a bit of a misfit. And like I said, upside down world. I was part of an upside down world, and where, you know, who you know, and you pull strings to get things going. There's a bit of corruption, and you can get places. You know.
So when you're referring to the upside down world, you're talking about all the inconsistencies with the way the world is and the way the world moves and how the wheels are greased.
Yes. So I found that you know, when you're involved with big contracts and government contracts, and you see the reality that sometimes it's not based on merit. And
this troubled you. This obviously troubled you.
Uncomfortable for me. At times I was cornered and didn't want to take that step at all. And yeah, it just wasn't worth it. It was so uncomfortable for me that I literally just stopped all projects and just packed up bags to go to Bali. Just stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
finished all contracts. Finished and literally sold off all the furniture in the office. I mean, we had a big office.
How did you? What would your? I mean, you were in business with your brother.
Oh, my brother set up another company. My brother set up another company. Before that, we set up two companies in the end. In the beginning, we set up one. After that, we set up two different companies.
All right. So you having your sabbatical didn't interfere with his business then, yeah?
No, no, he was still running his.
Right, okay.
Yes. So this is different. And yes, so sabbatical. I don't know what is sabbatical.
I was going to say sabbatical from business because it now seems like you've gone on a spiritual journey.
Yeah, but I didn't really stop the projects. There was still one or two running for the defense industry, the Ministry of Defense and all that. I would stay in Bali, but would come back and have the meetings once a month, once in 2 weeks. But it was doing far, far less. It was like, from 100%.
And can I just ask, why Bali? Because it does seem like the destination of truth seekers, people on their spiritual journeys. I've got friends who are out there right now, and they live the most incredible, well, they look like they live the most incredible, enlightened life.
Yes.
And they look incredibly happy as well. They're always smiling.
Yeah, yeah. It was all right. It was very nice. Me and my husband were there, but it was just a transitory place to be.
Right.
That was 9 months there. It is the kidney of the earth.
The kidney of the earth, okay.
The kidney of the earth. Yeah, it's the place where you get cleansed and then you go, you leave.
So you don't stay there forever. You go there for your.
Depends on who you are. Depends on who you are, what mission you are in. But some who stay there for good, but for my mission, it was the kidney of the earth.
So what was your mission then? And I mean, when did your mission become apparent? And what was your mission? What was your mission?
First, my mission was find out who I was. That had to be revealed to me. And I found out that I was to become the new human technology.
Okay, you've got me intrigued here, rather puzzled.
I was to represent the new human technology.
Represent human. Yeah. Okay. You're not a piece. So you're not the technology. It's not like you were dumped here by aliens. And
we're talking about transhumanism here. Yeah. Even though that is
so. So explain this to me then. What is this concept of? Because we were having our conversations on the phone a few days back, and you talked about the human 2.0. And my understanding of this concept of human 2.0 was exactly what you've just said, this transhumanism. And this is not a joke. This is actually happening. There is research happening right now, and some of the well-known billionaires are involved in it, where they are supplanting a very, very advanced technology and nanotechnology, etc., within humans, and humans are able to accelerate learning. But we're not on about that. You're talking about something else.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about something else. What I'm talking about is the version 2.0 of the human, which is just purely the spiritual biological entity, not with the
right. But so are you talking about an evolution in the sort of? Yes, it's an evolutionary step in human development.
Yes, and I was told that that there was an urgency for us to shift, and that for me to focus on tech on its own was not important anymore. That I had to bring this into the persons, and that there was a message within each person that had to be brought out in the right way. And this is what the message was. God is sending a lot of messages to a lot of people. And how do you bring out that message? And I was also shown, there's so many visions I was shown. I was shown there was going to be a spiritual war. Spiritual war, I was shown at the spiritual realm. I was shown there's a spiritual war that's going on, and it's going to be very intense, and it's going to reach its like a tipping point. And
when you say a spiritual war, I mean this is a war for the hearts and minds of humanity. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and also across religions, you know, the attack between religions. I was interesting. I was again under
Are you
prayer.
saying there's going to be more in your mind? There's going to be more disharmony coming between communities and religions.
They will reach a point where it will go to the point that we will go past all that. I'll give you an example, very simple terms.
Yeah.
In primary school, you're given your certain rules that you have to follow, right? You know, primary school, secondary school, given certain rules to follow. You don't do this, don't talk to a stranger, etc. Right? But when you have gone to university, you've gone to PhD level, you're on your own most of the time to study and research. There are no little rules anymore. But you will know what needs to be done right. You have the knowledge, you have the evolved mind, you have the wisdom. So it's more like a discovery. You're not based on rules anymore. So
you mean the game has changed?
The game has changed. So we reach a point that we know what's right and what's wrong, and we don't need to be told it. That free and responsible freedom, it's already innate in us. That we reach that level of spiritual awakening. And that was actually very important. So, but just before that happens, there will be a major spiritual war between religions. Yes, so I was shown a couple of visions in prayer, which I can be very specific on. If you want me to share it, I can.
Well, maybe you could share one or two with us. Yeah, I think the audience would be very fascinated to hear.
I received while I was standing in prayer, and I was shown a page of the Holy Quran. Okay, but I couldn't really understand it because the words are too small. It was a green borders with gold words and gold engravings, and I couldn't read it, and I said in my prayers, I can't read this. So then later on, I think about a day later, again I went into prayer, and then words shown to me clearer, and then the number appeared, 253.
253.
Yeah, and then I called my father. I said, Dad, I saw this, and the number 253. Immediately he opened up his book, the holy book, and he says, come, I will show you something. So I went to see him, and he said, this is the 253 Al-Baqarah.
Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter.
So I saw that, if you read it, and there's one statement there. Why are you in battle? It's between religions. Why are you in battle against each other? So it's not that I was curious at that time about that, but why was it shown to me? And I was just at a point when I was shown major war that was going on. And it will reach a point that we either go backwards or we go past it, and we will be beautiful. And we had to focus on the human technology. We had to focus on the God connection, God within. Otherwise, we are in trouble. And how does it lead to all this about the written truth?
What is the connection?
How is the connection? So, okay, the golden door was shown to me, and the golden door was determining truth, the highest version of ourselves, and that is linked. Discovering truth brings forth the highest version of ourselves, of the planet. It brings forth progress. As long as we are living in deception, we will always stay stagnant. We were going around circles, which is happening right now. Look at the past few years.
Well, look, we do live in times of
technology,
great corruption, great deception.
The only main advancement we are facing is technology advancement. But in terms of spiritual advancement, not really. It's not been there, except for the growing group now. the great, because they call it the Great Awakening, because they have seen,
Yeah.
realized. But it can go a lot faster. The more and more people are realizing about the human technology, that within us there is not just the five senses, six senses, there's so much more that's going to be revealed. The DNA is changing. I was shown the vision of triple helix DNA, which is, well, another topic. We have a double helix. I was shown a triple helix DNA, which is the extra strand, which is the miracle strand, that we will be miracle makers.
So wait there, I've heard of a double helix, the DNA. This is something I've studied at college as well. But
Yes.
I've not heard of this triple
Yes.
helix. Is that something that's already talked about in science, or is this something that...
Yes, it is. And the quadruple, yes.
Really?
Triple helix,
Okay.
triple helix is considered unstable according to human studies. Quadruple helix is considered stable. And they're very excited about the quadruple helix because it has a lot more power in it. Intellect, the capabilities are much higher. But when they understand what a triple helix is, something special also. So the truth within ourselves, the bringing forth progress. And who are we? What are we? We discover who we are. We write it, we speak it. We have a message we need to deliver as untainted as possible.
Do you think there is a lot about who we are and our powers and our capacities that has been hidden from us?
Yes. And hidden from us
and suppressed
reasons, because of an environment that we never want to take the step to explore. We get so lost in the cycle of life, the job and the routine. We don't take the step to go beyond and to discover. And we're so worried about what others think. I don't care about that anymore. I say what I need to say.
People fear judgment. People fear judgment of others.
Yes. I was judged.
And it holds you back.
Yeah, I was judged, but I just did it anyway. So yes, it's about being courageous. The truth writers, which is what Golden Door is about, has to have courage. They don't write based on what the world wants in terms of what's commercial, what's trendy, but they write based what it needs as a message to be delivered. They're delivering a message in whatever way it is, whatever form it is, whatever topic it is. And it is not driven by ego. It is not driven by an agenda. Everything that we are facing right now in the world today that's wrong is based on agenda. Because there is a hidden...
A lot of hidden agendas, a lot of inconsistent agendas.
Yes.
And I think people are pulled in many, many directions.
Yes.
And people, on the whole, my opinion is people are good, humanity is good, but there are people in powerful places and positions who don't share those ideals with us. And that then puts us into all the conflict that we're in.
Now,
because we have...
Yeah, you're right. So when I finished the manuscript of my book, one of the first people I shared with was Amir Ali Jumaboy, who was the president of the Singapore's interfaith organization.
Right.
He's a Shiite Muslim, but very, very tolerant. The good friends with the bishop, the relationship with around the world. So I gave him the manuscript to read, he did say to me that this is going beyond thinking of the norm, and that it was time to be, bold and to walk the path of truth and unity. We have never been as separate in this world as we are now. And humans are designed to be social beings, to be united. Countries progress when there's unity within the citizens. As long as we are separate and against, we will not progress.
Well, it's very appropriate that you just mentioned what you just said, because we are in a state of play right now where humanity on a global scale is separated, is pitted against each other, and we've got people who are social, they call it social distancing, and I find that an incredibly unusual term, because there's nothing sociable about it. It's antisocial distancing. It's very unsociable, and people are dehumanized. People are separated. People don't look each other in the eye. I mean, you would walk down the street before and you could nod your head and say hello. You pass somebody by today and they're too afraid to look at you. In fact, I saw a sign the other day that said, keep to your left, follow the arrows on the footpath and do not look towards other people. And I'm just wondering, where is this all going? What is there a hidden agenda behind this kind of, I mean, what I consider a very draconian takeover.
Okay.
And that's what it seems like. It seems like there is something in motion which is the antithesis of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to create. And it seems like you are on the complete opposite side from what is happening, the global edicts coming from greater powers and the international organizations like the UN, etc.
What I've discovered was the representation of truth had to be based on the foundation of love. This is what I was guided. It is, and without a truth without love is not truth. Okay, it is not the type of, there's not the truth that is going to bring us forward. And hidden agendas is based on selfish greed, destruction, and accumulation, gaining for self. We need to get past that. That everything we do, everything we speak about, write about, is embodied with love, and that is the foundation of truth.
I totally agree. And you know what I'm finding in recent years is this single word love is something that is now becoming a common word on the tip of people's tongues. And people are more expressive, people are more open. And just as that was happening, this pandemic arrived. And it seems like this pandemic is an attack on this concept of unity, togetherness, human understanding, and love between people of all communities, etc. It just seems so incredible that this came.
That's right.
It was so well timed, and this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to get political, because your movement is not about politics. You've just said it. Your movement is about human understanding. It's about love, and it's about connecting.
Yes.
Creating a global connection of communities.
Yes. Golden Door is about the elevation of ourselves. Yeah. The elevation of the raising up, the birthing of the new technology. When I say technology, it is not what you think it is. It's a capability. It means
when you say technology, are you talking about human powers, human skills, when you refer to technology?
Yes. And skills are far greater. And what is it used for? It's not for power. The agenda is different. The intent is different. So I'm going to write my book And I have transformed as a person, and I'm writing my book. My intention is different. What I'm releasing as vibration, as a word, through the words, is different.
So in your truth and in your story, do we win?
Yes. Yes.
I just want to know that. So we win. That's fantastic. I can relax then in that case.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. But there's a battle. But there's a battle to be fought in the meantime.
Yes, of course, there's a battle before fought, but
A spiritual battle.
we need to fight it in the right way. Let us go beyond ourselves. Okay, of course, love yourself, but go beyond yourself. Find out who you are. Write out, speak out your message, but to do it in a way, knowing and keeping within the boundaries of love, of not, because many truth tellers out there have their own agenda.
There's there's a lot of people out there who are watching. There's a lot of people who are watching here today, and there'll be a lot of people who will watch this later as well. And they're here because they've got a story and a message within them as well. But they haven't necessarily taken action. Because we spoke earlier about the different types of truth tellers. There are those who've already taken action and those who've already had maybe their awakening, etc. And they're already in process and they're already in the motion, and they've committed their truth and their story to writing, and it's even printed. But there's probably a greater number who haven't taken that action yet. What is your message to those people?
Okay, my message is to take that bold step, because as long as you don't do that, you'll never discover who you are and your true greatness. When we speak our truth, we're releasing our greatness, actually. And we can stay a whole life being ordinary and just being a follower, which is fine. It's good to be a follower, but there is a leader in everyone. Everybody is a leader in a different way. And why waste your whole life not revealing that message with courage? Because there's a time, the time is right now to do that. If we don't do that, we're just going to go into a spiral. Look what's happening now. It's timely, and I think with Golden Door, the objective really to celebrate the truth writers, and not to treat them like misfits, and you're an activist, you're fighting for something, and you're probably going to cause some trouble. Don't look at it that way. You are a new celebrity now, and you just have to take that step forward, and of course find out who you are, and time out, just like I timed out. We tend to be, like you say, go in circles, and then we never time out and step out and pause. All right, I've done all this. Now let me reflect. Let me go and see, what is it that I can step up and do more? Because more you give, just through the message you release, you're going to receive more. Law of circulation. Remember I shared with you, Shukeel?
Yep.
Yeah, I had this download. Download is an interesting word. These words came to me. It was actually scientific. It was an explanation about the vacuum, and how the vacuum is not really vacuum. It's not empty. It has fleeting particles which exist and don't exist at the same time. And when they're in circulation, the matter is created. So when that revelation came to me, I was a bit stunned. And in emptiness, even when you have nothing, you can still give something. And then when you give, you receive. Because the law of the universe, the way God has constructed the world is we're designed to give and receive, give and receive. It's not like what the banks promote, wealth accumulation. Please don't follow that. There's wealth distribution. And wealth, that's our message, is our wealth. We're holding it, some people spend their whole lives holding it back. No, don't say anything, just conform. Just, okay, opening up doesn't mean you're going to cause a riot.
People are afraid of, here's the thing, people are afraid of rocking the boat, being labeled a trouble causer or being labeled.
Labels. I don't like labels. When people call me, I just use my name. That's it. I don't put any labels. I don't like the word. I don't even like the word.
Basically, you ignore it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
And you just fulfill your mission anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if I would introduce myself, I would say I'm a messenger of truth and love.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, not even author, but I had to say that in the beginning, of course, because then you're wondering what's wrong with me. I'll say it later on. But seriously, I think this is the right time for everyone to start bringing out your message. Don't worry about making a fool of yourself. I think, like I said, the crazy ones are the ones who are going to be the stars. Stars.
I can agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of crazy geniuses out there.
Come on, be out
People
of the
who were told they were crazy at the time turned out to be the geniuses of history.
When you look at me, you think, oh, she's a very normal person. Look the way she dresses. I'm a misfit. I don't mind saying it. I'm an anomaly. I'm all right with that. Be proud of who you are and the way you think. But don't use it because you have this pride that, how am I going to differentiate myself? It's not about that. You really have to dig deep into yourself and connect to God. This is what I feel. May not apply to everyone, but for me, the God connection is very, very important because God reveals to you so much more. We tend to use our conscious mind and we determine this is me. But when you connect with God, there's so much more that He reveals to you. And that is beyond the conscious mind.
And I think what happens is so much more of the subconscious starts becoming apparent.
Subconscious and unconscious, which is beyond us. And then you know who you are and what you need to release. We go through life just based on a conscious mind. Okay, this is what I've learned, the indoctrination, the environment, and then this is my message, this is what I should do. I'm saying go past all that, connect deep within, the deeper truth, and then release that message, write it, speak it, deliver it, create it.
Tahira, I think what I want to do is want to sort of come towards the end of our interview. Yes. Because I know there's so much more that this with the program that's happening, and people are dying to dive back into the program as well. Although I know they're loving the inspiration that's coming from this interview, and they're loving finding out all about who you are and sort of getting to know you on a more personal level. What is the mission, the ultimate mission for you, and what is the mission for the Golden Door Awards? What is the direction from here? What's the plan?
Okay, the objective of Golden Door is to elevate the truth writers. And for those who have not become writers yet, it is to assist those who are seeking truth, who started the journey, to become the messengers through writing or digital content. It doesn't matter how you deliver your message. And to also to transform that into real world ventures, initiatives. It is not good enough just to write, by the way. We have a lot of people writing on Facebook, writing. We need to manifest, we need to create solutions. You need to embody those words. I believe there's a book in everyone. I believe there's a blog in everyone. Forget just books, there's blogs. We have a section on blogs also. There's a vlog in everyone.
That's interesting you say that, because as a speaker, and as a speaker trainer, I often talk about there's a story and a message in everybody.
Okay.
Meaning a spoken story. So I think it's, you know, I totally agree with you that there's a written message. Whether and it's important that you recognize, people recognize what you've just said, that it doesn't have to be the traditional written place, which is a book.
No.
You know, now there is probably more written in the digital space than there is on print and paper.
And even vlogs include that. So,
Yeah.
so yes,
Video logs. Yeah.
video logs, yes, is becoming quite common. So to look at Golden Door as the golden door, for you to go to the other side. The grand vision is to facilitate the creation of truth writers and truth creators, any vocation, and for them to tap onto deeper truths, for them to be bold, for them to be able to be successful. Many people who are truth tellers, they go through a lot of suffering. It is not an easy journey. So we do have like workshops which helps you become successful, because we still need to live in this world. We still need to earn. We need to be able to brand ourselves. All these things are needed. But the core is spiritual. The core is esoteric, you could say altruistic.
We still need to learn, although there is, so the inner core is the spiritual core, but to be able to get these messages across, we still need to learn and develop the skills, the actual practical, physical application.
Yes.
And that's something that you're helping people with in your trainings and workshops, yeah?
Yes, that's on day 2. That's introduction to those. We have discovering your life purpose.
Right.
Don't worry, I've been coughing also. I've been talking too much in the past few days. But
I think that's the message now, that we need to maybe wrap this interview up.
Yes.
And I'm going to sip my cup of tea, because
please go ahead. Please go ahead, and I will sip my mug of water.
A glass of warm water. Okay. And so, you know what? I've thoroughly enjoyed doing the interview, because I've learned so much about you as well. It's been a fascinating time for me to sort of delve deeper into the mission, the history behind everything, and how things came about. Because I think it's important for people to know and get to know people on a personal level, and actually understand what the cause. I'm always very inquisitive, and maybe that's one of the things what's made me the person who does a lot of interviews. I get asked to do a lot of interviews because I'm quite inquisitive, and I actually quite enjoy that. So I do a lot of interviews on social media, and particularly on Facebook, and I've interviewed a whole range of people, from people like yourself who are in the spiritual space, to entrepreneurs, to even some of the most prolific ex-criminals in the world.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
You know, you saw. I think you saw that, where I interviewed somebody who was Britain's most prolific bank robber, but he's a reformed person now, and he's out there teaching. And that was what the important thing was. It was about sharing messages.
Yes.
You know, and I think hopefully on the back of the interview that everybody has seen here today, people will be inspired to step up their game. People will be inspired to think, if they can do this, and they're no better than us, we're no different from anybody else. Yes. We don't have any greater skills than anybody else. All we've perhaps done, or all you've perhaps done, is taken the next step and just taken action on what you are learning and what you have acquired, the skills and the knowledge you've acquired. The only thing that you've done different is you've just decided to take decisive action.
Yes, that's right.
And I think if people can get that out of this interview and make a choice about stepping up their game, I think our interview process would have been we'll have had a successful outcome for this.
Okay, all right, let's pray so. Okay, it will. So
yeah, absolutely fantastic. Okay. I want to thank you for the interview and the opportunity for allowing this to happen, and the space. Hopefully we didn't take up too much time out of the 3 days that people are here for. And also just want to give a little bit of recognition to all the nominees and all the award winners, because all of them are rather remarkable people who've all stepped up to a challenge. And so a huge congratulations to the various winners of the various categories at the Golden Door Awards. And I cannot wait to join you in the audience along with all the other people who are here. And there's hundreds of people from all over the world. And that's incredible for a first time event. I just can't wait until it's repeating next year, where I can only see this snowballing, because this is a rather unique event that you've put together. And I've attended, so many international events in person and online, and this is really, really different from anything else that I've seen. So that is a huge congratulations to your vision and you being able to implement, the plans that you've seen, the plans that you've put together, because it's one thing to be able to put a plan together, it's another thing to make it happen.
Truth creators, and it involves people, and it involves giving, community, and law circulation.
So there you go. That's your mission, is to enable the truth creators. There's a lot of people who are truth thinkers and truth speakers, but it's about getting out there and creating that truth and getting that message out.
Yes, that's right.
And this is a fantastic platform. This is an enabler.
Yes.
So it's just an amazing platform for that to happen.
All right. Thank you so much for this wonderful interview. It was always enjoyable. And
thank you.
And I'm happy to share my childhood and family history a bit. I rarely get the chance to talk about that.
Well, I think it's important, because what happens is a lot of people, when they're in interviews, they are often sort of boxed in on what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that's always been important to me, and this is something that I've always, this has been a part of the way that I work in my business as a trainer and a coach, is I want to get to know people, and the way to get to know people is to know how they were raised, what their childhood was like, what were their childhood early experiences. Yeah. That tells me more about a person than anything else, because the reality is, and scientists and psychologists and all the experts know, that your experiences from the age of 0 to 7 are largely what shapes your character and your personality, and will often dictate the outcomes in your life as well. So I always find it fascinating to get into the truth of the person, is to go back to who you were from the beginning. Yes. And that often is a reflection of the parents that raised you, your brothers, your sisters, the environment that you were raised in, and all those experiences, whether they were positive and negative experiences. That tells me a tremendous amount about a person. And I hope, and I think that's all come out today. And I think your audience will have a much greater connection with who you are, and will be really, really now fighting to support your cause and your mission, because it's not just your cause and mission. This is a mission for a lot of people to come on board.
Yes. Okay. All right.
We'll call it a day, and we're going to get on with the program. Thank you so much, Tahira.
Thank you, Shukeel. Bye.